What's up, everyone? Just to get on here for a second, talk about this incident with this Maryland cop. I had it in the beginning of one of my videos. I think it might be the one that's age restricted. It's the clip that went viral of this, I think maybe his name's Francesca or something like that. I don't know. You'll see it on there. I'll leave a clip of it. But we seen the clip that went viral, and I'm sure about everybody's seen that by now, of the where he's kind of touching on this female, and then they sneak into the back of the car, right?
We were just trying to have a good time, go to play soccer.
Nelson Ochoa says he was in South Lawn Park in Oxon Hill on Labor Day enjoying a game of soccer with other families when a Prince George's County police cruiser pulled up and parked. He doesn't know what made him start to record, but he did.
As soon as I started recording, a car pulled up and then a young lady came out.
He recorded the two appearing to embrace and kiss and then get into the back of the officer's squad car.
We couldn't believe what we were seeing, and then what really made us go like, wow, like this is crazy is when, like I said, when the car started rocking a little bit to the left and right, that's when we were like, wow, this is crazy. And broad daylight with kids around. He was in the car for about 35 to 40 minutes.
Afterward, he says both quickly drove away in separate directions. Prince George's County Police released a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, saying they were aware of the video and are investigating to determine the circumstances. They tell the I-Team they have identified the officer, though they have not released his name. Multiple police sources tell me it's Francesco Marlette, seen here in this picture.
So we have that, and I was watching, so I'll give a shout out to Long Island Audit. So I was watching his, and I didn't know this about that. I didn't pay too much attention to that. I had other stuff I was looking at, but I was watching his video, and they found out a little more about this officer that was involved in that. And I guess what so the thing is, so he points out a very good point, and that's, so I'm gonna leave a link in the description to his video on Long Island Audits. Chances are you've seen it before you see my video. But anyway, he points out a very good point about accountability, and it comes down to why was that officer even an officer? How did it come to that? How that this video could come about? Because the truth is that officer should have already never been an officer again, because it turns out he abused a 3-year-old child. And like I said, I'll leave a clip here somewhere in this.
This man knocked out a 3-year-old, knocked him out, constantly abused him. Those are the allegations. He knocked out the 3-year-old, his 3-year-old stepson, knocked him out cold. Do you know how much effort and how much force it takes to knock somebody out? Are you kidding me? And then, of course, they investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. Thankfully, a grand jury didn't agree with that, and they charged him. But guess what? The prosecutor, the state's attorney, dropped the charges against him and expunged his record. This is the story here, ladies and gentlemen. Not his affair at the public park, on duty in the back of his vehicle. He knocked out a child, had no consequences for it, zero accountability for it, and then continued to be a law enforcement officer, protecting and serving his community after he knocked out a little defenseless 3-year-old boy. I have children. I know many of you have children. Can you imagine the amount of force it would take to knock out cold a 3-year-old boy? Sadistic. This man is obviously have issues. And look, he doesn't care. Because guess what? Just like with Sergeant Fahey, just like in every other scenario, in every other instance that I've dealt with, when there's no accountability, they keep repeating it over and over again, and they get worse and they escalate, and they don't care because there's no consequences. And that's what happens in law enforcement across this country of ours. Public servants getting paid 6 figures of our tax dollars, and they get away with it every single time because the state's attorneys cover for them.
So that's the his take from Long Island Audits, and I can't disagree with that at all. It's a very good outtake. from him, and something to consider. And first of all, it's the truth. It's about accountability, and that hits close to home with me, as it does with him being charged with stuff. But these people don't want to take accountability, and we can say, the problem is we're saying, oh, there's a bad officer, but we're saying there's good officers out there. Well, the thing is, if that's the truth, then the good officers need to start standing up. And I understand they could chance losing their jobs or everything else, but you took an oath, and it's time to defend that oath. It's time to defend that Constitution. And the thing is, if you're a good officer, then you'll be outing these bad officers. And so we'll take a look at this guy down in Maryland now, over in Maryland. Francesco, or whatever his name is. He, first of all, he's having an affair in, like, Long Island Audit says, on his thing, and I'm not disagreeing with him at all, but he says, he's not concerned about that. He's concerned about, well, let's back up here. This 3-year-old child was abused by this officer, and the officer got nothing from it, and I couldn't agree more. But we still can't discount that. We say, oh, these officers are people at the end of the day, or whatever, right? And this kind of stuff is happening. Well, he's showing where he's going to out some, and I assure you, here around Defiance, it's about to come to that. But you can't discount the fact that, oh, they're, they are, these affairs, if they're a type of officer that's having affairs like that, that is important. Okay, first of all, he's right. Get rid of the guy to begin with for abusing the child. But let's talk about the ones that maybe ain't abusing the child, and we want to overlook the fact that they might have done this or that, because they're officers, they're the good ones. Well, the thing is, the truth of the matter is, if they're having affairs behind people's backs, then that shows what kind of people they are. And they are not good, honest people, and they can't be trusted. If they can't be trusted with their own significant other, then how could they be trusted with people they don't know? Meaning you and me. The people they a lot of these guys are married and having affairs behind their wife or husband's back. These officers are, and we'll blow it off because that's the thing of the times, and people do that. Well, it's wrong. It shouldn't be accepted no matter what, whether they're officers or not. But the thing is, these people took vows and they can't stick to that, and you think they're going to stick to an oath to strangers? And we need to hold them accountable. So he's absolutely right about accountability. We need to hold them accountable. But I don't want to discount the fact about the ones that are having, if they're that type that's having affairs, and not just the officer. We gotta take a look at the whole world around us, and if we want it to change, we gotta out the other people that's involved too, right? So I suppose, right, like, so not just the officers having an affair. What about then the woman that's having an affair, she's cheating on somebody with this officer, and there's too much of a thing where the people are being enticed with these men in uniform or whatever, screw that. How could you be attracted to these people that ruin people's lives? They ruin people's lives, and then everybody still praises them, right? So I'm gonna say, you can't, so what about the person having an affair with that officer also? So that woman in that video was having an affair. So what are the possible outcomes there if that person didn't make that video go viral and out that officer, and how many others are out there? Think about these situations, and that's a lot of times we ain't thinking about these situations, and what could be the outcome of that? What possibly could be the outcome of that? What if this woman, she's having an affair with this officer or whatever to get her kicks off, and it just so happens that because she's not happy with herself and doing stuff behind her man's back, and now she's got all this guilt, and so they can't get along, obviously. They wouldn't be able to, so consider that situation. Could you imagine that maybe what if then she got into disagreement with her actual man, and decided to be because she probably smarts off to her girlfriends, whatever, people who keeps her secrets, and my other boyfriend's a cop, or whatever like that. And so she, to get her way, then could you imagine she could call the police at that certain time, and who could show up? Then Officer Francesco show up, right? Oh, I'm here to save the day, and then accuses this guy of domestic violence or something like that, right? Throws him in jail so that these two can have their fun over the weekend, and they throw him in jail, and from there ruin his life. These kinds of things really could happen. I'm just saying, could you imagine if something like that had happened? So we can't just take lightly that these people are having affairs either. They need to be outed, and the people they're having affairs with need to be outed. We need to cut off the whole dang disgusting system, and those who want to step up and honor and be honorable, find them, step up and prove it. If you want to prove you're an honest officer, step up and prove it. Out the bad ones. Protect our Constitution. Do what's right. And so then we get into accountability, and like he's talking about, and I'm just saying, could you imagine how certain situations could go out? There's way more than you could imagine, I suppose, but there may be somebody out there that can imagine that could imagine some similar kind of situation happening. Could you imagine that happening in your own town? Could you imagine Defiance? Could you imagine that happening in Defiance? Let's pick somebody. Let's say, I don't know, like Officer Little or somebody. Let's say he was trying to mess around with somebody, and how would that go? I'm just saying, pick somebody in your town. An officer that you think's innocent, but he maybe has an affair. Oh, no big deal. Imagine how that could go down for the poor bastard on the other end of that affair, or the poor unknowing wife on the other end of that, and stuff like that. It's way more consequences than people want to imagine. And so then we get like Long Island Audit says about the accountability, and he's exactly right, and we need to start stepping up, every one of us, and hold these people accountable. And that's what I'm doing on my end here, and people need to take the hard road and hold them accountable. And you want to say you're a good officer, then step up and hold your fellows accountable and stand on our side and help us, because we're just trying to clean up the system and give good, fair justice to all, and you're making it impossible. And you can't hold them accountable. You try to come forward honestly and in honor, and go to the higher up and say, hey, your two officers violated me, and they don't care because the news ain't on it. They ignore you, right? And don't even acknowledge it. And so what I want to talk about accountability, some people don't understand about some of the ways I filed some of my complaints that I even filed through the mayor. I was charged by as the sheriff, but I filed my complaint also to the mayor and several other public servants. And the reason that is because these people are our local servants who are pledged under oath to defend that Constitution and to defend you. And the thing is that they are accountable, that I have made them aware of the situation, and aware that nobody's trying to help, and they are accountable now because I made them aware. Here in Ohio, it's part of the rules of professional conduct, because you got to realize that you're public servants. You might think, oh, well, I don't go complain to this. Submit your complaint there anyways, because in the long run, you're taking away all you're taking away all excuses that they can deny accountability. You know, they're still going to, as you know, whatever. We'll figure all this out. But the thing is, now that you've submitted here, like I'm saying here in Ohio, it's not part of the rules of professional conduct that they are aware of the situation. They have to help. You know, when I made the Attorney General aware, they want to say, oh, and this is, you know, so what do we do here in Ohio? They say, oh, well, you go to the Attorney General and they say, oh, well, I'm sorry, Ohio's home rule state, which means pretty much we can't tell them how to run the law. You know, but if I go to do anything against what they're saying, suddenly everybody has authority, right? But nobody has authority when it's against them. They're making it where you can't, and this is the problem. This is why people got to start holding these people accountable now, as much as possible, and no matter how little it is, they got to start being held accountable, because it's getting out of hand, and it's coming down to they're all got their own dirty stuff, so they're all helping each other out. So like we say, you go to, you know, this officer, what's his fate going to be? The one that we seen in this clip, what's his fate going to be? He's going to end up still being an officer somewhere. That's the truth. They're not going against their own. And you hear on the clip, you hear their excuses that they try to give, and that's how it's going to keep going. And that, you know, so then you need to, so when the next person above them don't want to do something about it. So if I go to the sheriff and submit my complaint, and he says, oh, well, we just send it over to the law department. Hold on, first of all, I submitted my complaint against how your two officers are acting. Now you're under oath. You're our elected official. You are under oath to hold them accountable. But you're saying, no, you're not going to hold them accountable. Okay, so now you're accountable, and you need to be held accountable. So now you're in violation. You know, that's how it goes. And each step up, they don't want to do something about it. We got to hold each one of them accountable, because otherwise what? They laugh at me, my situation. They laugh at what's going on. To this day still, I have not been received my stuff. And at this point, the sheriff's department certainly should have said, okay, we're gonna, you know, we helped that corporation ruin your life, and or they helped them ruin my life, whatever, you know. But here I am, a person, a public, you know, I'm a person. I'm not a corporation. I'm a person. The people, I'm the people, and by now they should say, okay, we're going to consider your items stolen and hold them accountable, charge them for theft. Oh, but no, I get told that, oh, you know what? We allowed somebody else to take your stuff, and you just gotta, you know, deal with the consequences of that, right? So they have my stuff, and they're telling me I have 30 days to get it, and they're not telling me where it's at. So at the end of that 30 days, since they're not cooperating with me, they're going to wait till the last minute, and then they're going to tell me I owe a bunch of money to get it. And that's just, you know, and this is how far it's going, because nobody's holding them accountable. Nobody's holding anybody accountable. And when I tried to submit my complaint to one, they laughed at me and said, you know what, we'll screw you too. And that's what's happening in this system. And we need to get a grip on it, because that is exactly what's happening in this system. It ain't right. It ain't fair. What they are doing to me is 100% not fair. And I've tried everything to be honorable about it. And they're not. But what do they hate? They hate publicity. They hate their name being thrown out in public. So now I'm an evil bad guy because I'm coming out saying this or that. But they don't care about my name's ran in the ground and how stupid and ridiculous life is for me, right? Well, and it wouldn't be like this if anyone would have stood up in honor under their oath and said, okay, all right, we read your complaint, and if this holds out to be, if what you are saying is true, then somebody needs held accountable. But no, they're ignoring it because they know what I'm saying is true, and they know somebody needs held accountable. They know that several people need held accountable, and that's why they're making it even harder on me. So thank you for watching this long. Go ahead and check out Long Island Audit's video on this and his take for the full video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And there's another subject I want to get on about, but you know what, we'll get to that. And that I really want to get some comments going on that to get different everybody's different belief on a certain thing. And when it comes to this legal system, the justice system. Anyways, we'll get to that in another video. But thanks a lot, and keep the prayers coming. And otherwise, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.